channel.
Welcome back, everyone, to the May event. Now, you're probably wondering, what is the May event? Well, it's real simple. In this event, we let you guys vote and decide who gets to face off in what. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues with TikTok, but not to worry. We got these matches for you guys, and they're pretty interesting ones. And you guys, showed all the love and support, so we really appreciate that. Now, welcome back to the show, my boy, Mr. J.
How's it going, guys? Good to be back. Thanks for having me. It has been quite some time.
Yeah. And so let's move on, guys. Today, we're doing a champion match. I'm currently the May E23 champion, and we're changing things up from May E24 and deciding to have two champions this time. That's right, we're gonna have two champions. So next year we're gonna have an undisputed champion match. So based on the votings we're gonna get on my fight with Mass Debater, and according to the fight against me and Mr. J, depending on how you guys vote and who you guys vote on, we'll see who's gonna face on in next year's event. Moving on from that, let's get things started with the stats.
And on this corner, representing the Marvel Comics universe, Legion himself. Legion has over 200 Omega level personalities. He's only limited by his powers because of his mind being unstable. If he had full control of his mind, he would be unstoppable with his powers. Can shield himself from cerebral. Can make duplicates of himself. Analyzed a time stream. Sent Storm back to her childhood. Can fold up dimensional space with one of his personalities, which happens to be the sumo wrestler. He can be lightning in your spine. He defeated elder gods, healed someone from a psychic tumor, strong enough to take blasts from Cyclops. His Moira personality had the ability to take out Charles Xavier and Magneto at the same time. This persona was also capable of stealing the universe and placing it in a box. She can create alternate universes and rewrite realities, Moira, in this personality. The 6 personas that escaped his mind weren't easy to put back into it. 1. Time Sync can manipulate time. 2. Styx can trap souls and steal minds. 3. Endgame has superhuman strength. 4. Chain can make clones of himself. 5. Voodoo can harm others by inflicting pain onto himself. 6. Susan in Sunshine can manipulate emotions. And, Legion can defeat the X-Men.
Corner, coming from the realm of DC Comics, the once man and now living form of version of a god, Dr. Manhattan himself. Partially responsible for the creation of the New 52, he can erase 10 years off of reality in history, as he did during the Flashpoint crossover, won the Vietnam War for America alone, wiping the enemies out with just a thought, stood back and witnessed the Flashpoint happen. Reverse Flash referred to him as a god. Can provide oxygen in an environment that doesn't have oxygen around it to a person. He can create anything in a place, in a planet, using materials just that he makes. He can make something out of molecule, out of molecular level. The man can alter his size. He can make copies of himself. This man is truly a godly man. Alright, so I will start off by making my points on how Dr. Manhattan would be able to defeat the Legion. So let's start off with the fact that Dr. Manhattan has a lot of capabilities. I mean, he can turn a gun into mercury if he wants to. I mean, the man has infinite amount of potential to do anything he wanted to. And one of those arguments could be poisoning somebody. Now, how would he poison Legion? Now, Legion is very powerful, but one of the problems that Legion has is a fragile mind sometimes in a situation. Considering the fact that he has multiple personalities in it and all that stuff, it can be very difficult to juggle it. But that being said, poison is probably going to be the best way for Dr. Manhattan to affect Legion in the mind, because poisoning his mind would be the best way to weaken Legion and then take advantage of that. Another thing to consider is that Legion, yes, he has multiple personalities, but another thing to attach to that is that it's difficult for him to maintain some of these personalities. He doesn't always have complete control of these characters and being able to switch off to whatever power he wants. Sometimes he's just kind of rolling the dice and hoping for the best. But when it comes to Dr. Manhattan, he has full control of his powers. He knows what he's doing. There's nothing that's going to block him from being able to switch up and do things when he needs to during a fight. So his ability to have full access to his powers and having the full might of it spectrum wise, compared to Legion, who has to switch up to different cosmic abilities in order to use his power, plus his personality issues. Yeah, it's gonna take a toll on the boy. All right, another couple arguments to make is that Legion is a very powerful being. Yes, there's no doubting that. But there's one person in the roster of Legion's personality that isn't that powerful, and that's David. Unfortunately, David is an ordinary schmoo, regular guy, you know? He doesn't really pertain any kind of powers. He's just an average human being. So unless he switches to his personas, he doesn't really have anything going for him. If Dr. Manhattan were to be able to control the ability to stop Legion from being able to switch into those other personalities and just stay as David, then he is screwed. I mean, all he has to do is maintain David as he is, and then just bam, wham him one time, and then to the chest, boom, game over. That's how he could just end him that way. Another thing is this, Dr. Manhattan could go cosmic. You know, he just say, bam, I'm gonna wipe everything out. He did it in the comics when Superman and him were like, he was like, yo, look, watch what I can do. Whoop! And he made the entire comic book page blank. So yes, Dr. Manhattan has the ability to also wipe things out of existence. So in a fight, he might just want to just wipe everything out immediately. He could probably wipe out a Legion from the fight. Another thing, and probably my last point I will make, is that Dr. Manhattan was able, actually I have two things to make. He was able to stop, or actually take 10 years out of DC Comics timeline. So I do believe that ability to stop legions in any kind of way from existing or anything, he could do that. Another thing is that he could also prevent Legion from getting his abilities. He could travel back into the time, since he has control of time manipulation. He could travel during the time Legion got his power, stop him from getting the dramatic experience, and just continue to create the story where he isn't living his life in any kind of bad way, where he could get the trigger. And then once he winds up becoming the Age of David, where he meets Dr. Manhattan, bam, there you go. Now they face off, boom, game over. Legion never got his powers, he can't do anything. That's usually how mutants work. They have to have some kind of a traumatic experience in order to trigger their abilities. All right, so those were my points pretty much. He could wipe him out of existence. He can he could stop him from becoming Legion. He has full control of his powers. Pretty much all these capabilities will get him the W.
Okay, very well said. As he's already mentioned, my contestant today is none other than Legion. One note I'll say, one thing I disagree with is I don't believe David himself is entirely an ordinary man. Given that his father is Charles Xavier, one of the most powerful telepaths there is, David possesses the ability of reality. I believe his base mutant ability is the ability to warp reality and bend it to his will. Um, David possesses a lot of different things that he can do. However, he does have about 6 different personalities. There's David. There's one of his abilities has super strength. One has the ability to alter and manipulate your emotions. One can clone himself. One can
Feel your soul.
Yeah, one can steal your mind and steal your soul. One of them can alter time. So a lot of the same arguments that can be said against Legion or David, I feel can also work to his advantage, and they can also hurt Dr. Manhattan himself. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. A lot of the same things that a lot of the same things that these guys can do, the other one can do as well. So if Legion wanted, he can go back to the event where Dr. Manhattan was created and be like, hey man, I don't think you should step in there. Then he can go inside. Um, it would temporarily burst him, but with the abilities that he has, he could possibly gain Dr. Manhattan's abilities, and then from there, he'd pretty much be unstoppable.
Oh hell yeah.
He could just stop him from getting his abilities, and then he could kill him. There's a couple different ways I see this can go. Um, like his dad, he does have the ability to go inside your mind and control you there with mental manipulation, much like Xavier can do. Um, the problem with that for Dr. Manhattan, I believe, would be the personalities. You see, because when David enters your mind, It's not just him that's entering your mind. It is the alternate personalities in which he has. And the reason why that would be concerning for anybody would be because you don't know already what his intentions are towards you once he enters your mind. You don't know what their intentions are. You don't know if at one point in time he's just going to say, you know what? You guys got this, right? Yeah, no, we got it. Sit back, relax. He can let the personas overtake him, and then they can fight the battle. While he's fighting, he can, somehow, if he's able to control his personalities just enough, he can switch while mid-fight. Okay, that's gonna throw Dr. Manhattan off because he's not gonna fully realize that he's dealing with a different persona right off the bat. He's not gonna catch it right away.
Oh yeah.
Also with the split personalities, I believe that because his psyche and his mental health is really not all that great, that could be something that works in his advantage. See, because Dr. Manhattan, a lot of the time, he knows what you're gonna do. He can read your mind. He sees what you're gonna do before you even see it. Now with David's fractured psyche and his multiple personalities, that would possibly be enough to keep him guessing. He's like, okay, I know what this version of you's gonna do. Then all of a sudden he switches to a different personality. He's like, wait, I can't read your mind anymore. And if he continues to do that, he can kind of keep Dr. Manhattan on his toes, along with his other abilities. Like I said, super strength, he can clone himself. So while Dr. Manhattan's fighting a clone, maybe he doesn't know he's fighting a clone. But okay, he blows it up. Wait a minute. You're still alive. I can still sense you. I can still feel you. And then he surprises him with a surprise attack. Dr. Manhattan, one issue with him, I believe, this is just strictly my opinion. He is strong and he is near godlike, but he is not a god himself. One reason I believe he looks so strong is because in his universe, there's not that many people that can even level with him. They're not even there. They're not even close. So that's what makes him look stronger. Same could be said for Legion. However, Legion does have a couple of characters in his universe that can either defeat him or they're on the same level. I'm not going to get into who these characters are and what my opinions are about that, but Dr. Manhattan has struggled with his humanity and keeping himself distant. A lot of you see him and he's just like, I don't care, whatever. But that's really not the case. He does have people that he cares about. He has had someone that he's loved. Legion can use that against him. He can enter his mind, and from Dr. Manhattan's perspective, he doesn't know he's entered his mind yet, but he can create this illusion, keep him trapped within a mental prison and just keep him locked there. By the time Dr. Manhattan figures it out, he's trapped. He's stuck. Could he get out eventually? Yeah, he probably could. But as far as the matchup goes, it's done. Legion's got him trapped. He has him beat. So he walks away with the W. But, like I said, this can go a couple different ways. Go back in time. He can stop him from getting his powers. He can kill his human form. He can trap him within a alternate mental prison. Legion is also capable of, like I mentioned earlier, he can rewrite and alter reality and bend it to his will. Now, the big question in this fight is going to be who can do it better. Legion can alternate. He can give Dr. Manhattan like a simple weakness, something as simple as water or the sun. He would just have to fight him in darkness. There's a couple different things, he can do. I feel that, his mental psyche is going to keep Dr. Manhattan on the ropes as well as his alternate abilities. So if he can keep him guessing, keep him on his toes, okay, Dr. Manhattan doesn't know what to do. And then creates the illusion that it's him, but then really he's in the back and he's entered his mind. And as soon as he enters his mind, with all 6 personalities, I really don't see it ending very well for Dr. Manhattan at all. Someone had said something like, if because in some forms the Shadow King is still dormant in David's mind and is still trapped there. If he's able to relinquish control and let him take over, Dr. Manhattan doesn't stand a chance. So that's how I see this plays out. He either goes back in time, stops him from getting his abilities, or he just simply creates an illusion long enough to trap him inside of a mental prison. Once Dr. Manhattan's there, it's game over.
Okay. All right. All right, guys. So I forgot to explain the other 2 rules, which was the second one was what do you call it? We have to determine a winner. You guys are going to determine the winner. We're going to have certain pollings put out for you guys to figure out how we're going to determine who won this fight. And the last one is whatever we decided to argue is not 100% bulletproof. It's not guaranteed that that's the argument. It's solid guarantee no one can argue it. You guys can feel free to leave a argument down in the comment section below. Just feel free to be respectful. And yeah, so that's it, guys. We really appreciate all the love and the support. Thank you, guys. No Press fam. Catch you guys later. Peace.
Shout out to all my content supporters. Not working together, but we like to give credit where credit is due. Ivan the Unstoppable for all the knowledge of comic feats. Watch Mojo for origins and for all the background videos. Comic Historian, Comics Explained, and Key Issues. Go ahead and check them out and tap into the world of comics by supporting other creators. Link to channels will be in the description below.